now on BBC Two and the BBC HD channel. After a week full of joy and surprises, it's our final visit to Cumbria to join Adam and Kate.
Meet Sam and Jamie, two little lambs that were born early this morning right here on the Marstons farm in Cumbria.
Now, this may be our last live show, but we've still got plenty of new lambs to introduce you to, plus step-by-step instructions on how to blow dry a cow. Yes, it could only be Lambing Live.
It's been a glorious day on the Marstons farm. Wonderful views of the fells.
Fantastic.
And last night, after we finished filming, we thought all the lambs had gone to sleep and everything was quiet. But then it just seemed to kick off.
Now, you see, I know you're a hard-hearted, practical sheep farmer, and you were standing there going, oh, they're quite sweet, aren't
How
they?
can you help it?
You can't, can you?
I'm getting soft in my old age. I'm spending too much time with you.
Don't blame me, just don't blame me. Now, as Adam said, it was an absolutely glorious day today. It was a glorious day yesterday, but a very cold night. So we thought it would be the perfect chance to get out this whizzy bit of technology that we've got. It's a special camera that is a sort of thermal imaging camera. And one of our cameramen, Jamie, went out in the depths of the night to film sheep. Now, Adam was talking a lot about wool, and this shows just how important those fleeces are, Adam, don't they?
It's incredible, isn't it? You can see the wool of the sheep's body there is completely dark, but where you can see her face and her legs, and particularly the lambs who have hardly got any wool, it's showing the red and the oranges of the heat they're losing.
And so you can see just how effective, how important those fleeces are, and also why the lambs snuggle up to mums. And I love this, when the ewe gets up with her lambs, leaves a nice little hot patch.
It's amazing, isn't it? Here we are. Now, I've got some wool here for you, Kate.
Are clever.
Now, this is some raw wool from last year's shearing, and if you still rub it, you get that
Oh,
grease.
it is. It's really... It's lanolin, isn't it? That's the sort of waterproofing, basically.
Absolutely. If you pull it apart, lots of little tiny hairs, and it's very springy. It's like a greasy duvet that they wear all day long. And once it's washed...
I like the idea of a greasy duvet.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? You smell like a greasy duvet.
It's true.
And once it's washed, you get this lovely fluffy stuff, and you could take this home and do a bit of knitting.
Yes, thank you. I'll bear that in mind next time I have a moment. Now, as we said, very cold night, and we were a little bit worried about one particular sheep, despite the fact that when we got up this morning, it was glorious. Look at this. I mean, this, Adam, is a sunrise worth getting up for, isn't it?
It really is. I was talking to Donald earlier today, and I said there can't be many days you don't want to go to work in the morning, and he agreed. You know, what a place to wake up and see all this. I mean, it's just magnificent.
But you can see, you know, it was chilly. The sheep's breath you can see in the air. The dew there is actually, it was frost first thing this morning.
It was a cold night, wasn't it?
It was a cold night. And one very special little lamb called Rosie, who was born live on air on our very first programme, spent her very first night outdoors last night. How did she fare?
Okay.
It is a beautiful morning after Rosie's very first night, and hopefully if we climb this hill, girls, that's why you're so fit, this family, isn't it? Because of all these hills you've got to climb, we'll be able to find her. So where's Rosie? Who can spot Rosie? Do you think that's her calling us?
No.
No.
But it might be, you never know.
Oh, there's Rosie. Have you got Rosie? There she is. Are you going to catch her? Go on, Abigail. Well done. Good catch. Here we go. Wow.
Hello,
Excellent. So there's Rosie. She's looking very well, isn't she?
Yeah.
She survived the night, no problem at all. I can't believe that lamb's only a week old. It's the size of a spaniel.
It is, it's doing very well indeed.
Are you pleased with her? Is she the sort of lamb that you think, yeah, that's a good one, we've done well with her?
Yeah, I think it's a nice lamb. Yeah, doing really well.
And what happens now? She's out in the field, touch wood, she's sort of healthy, she's robust. Do you basically, apart from going and checking them every day, can she be left to her own devices to sort of grow up now?
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully the spring grass will come and she'll really fill out and make a really good shape, and we'll look after her the best we can. We'll have to obviously dose them at various times of the year, but yeah, apart from that, she should do well.
And when will she be sort of weaned from her mum and kind of independent?
About August.
Right.
We'll
okay.
take off her mum.
And you actually have to physically part them, but does it sort of happen naturally a bit over time as well?
Maybe a little bit. Obviously, they become more independent, wander away a bit more than staying close to the mums like they are now. So
yeah.
they wince a little bit, but not altogether, no.
So you actually have to physically do that process, and that's the sort of next stage of her adult life, I suppose.
That's right, yeah. But it's also funny, later on sometimes, that lamb and that ewe will stay close together again, although they don't actually suck or anything, but they will come back. So,
they will come back. So that bond sort of lasts.
I think it does a bit, yeah.
It's amazing. Now, if you were watching last night's show, you will have seen this happen right at the end of the show. You went into labour and Andrew helped the delivery of the first lamb. Little bit yellow there, Andrew, so a little bit stressed. Mine, on the other hand, looked fine.
Oh, well, you know, it is great, aren't you? I was stressing you, weren't you?
But nice-looking lambs and all looked well, but you came in the night and you've got your bottle and your tube. What was going on?
Yeah, I just wasn't happy that I had enough milk off the mum, so or any milk, so I stripped her off and milked her out into a jug. So
you're basically milking her now. Is this the colostrum, this sort of important first milk?
Yeah, that's vital. Is the first milk. Yeah.
Why is it so important?
It's got all the nutrition in that the lamb needs just to get it going, and also vaccinate the sheep against various diseases, and that's in the first suck.
That sort of gets passed on to the lamb.
It does.
So that tube, do you put it directly into the stomach of the lamb?
That's right, yeah.
So you know that it's getting that vital colostrum, and everything will be well, hopefully.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
you came in the morning.
Yeah, and the lambs were doing very nicely.
Let's have a look at them.
Around.
Come on, Mum. She's protectively put them in the corner, but they're looking they're looking fat, Andrew. They look like they've had a good feed.
I think they've had a good feed, yeah. I've been watching them today and they seem to be doing well.
And they've worked out where to get their milk for themselves. They don't need you in there all the time.
Find it themselves now.
Oh, that's very good news. Yeah. Well, as you know, Andrew and Rachel spend a large part of the day and night, it seems, in this very shed, checking on the sheep and, of course, lambing anything that needs lambing. And that's exactly what happened this morning. Andrew was in here lambing another ewe. Looks like a nice couple of lambs there as well.
Yep, doing nicely.
Doing nicely. Now in came Rachel, who was putting in clean straw. And so you asked her to help you.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
What did you ask her to do, Andrew?
I can't remember now. And you had to put them lambs in that pen for me.
Right, and did you tell her about this bucket?
Oops, I forgot.
We're so unsympathetic of you. Look, you can see she's plotting revenge.
She was, yeah.
There you are, she's got you. You can see it's a very, very serious business, this lambing lark,
Absolutely,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No fun.
So serious, in fact, and the seriousness carried on this morning when Andrew and I went out on the rounds, and we were in the field. I was doing a bit of feeding. Andrew was just sort of standing around looking at the view and not doing much.
That's what farmers do.
Exactly. But you did actually do something useful, which was to spot what?
A lame lamb.
Right.
So I thought, well, you said, let's catch this lamb, didn't you?
I did say
I didn't think we could.
And I thought, of course we can. It's a lame lamb. So I tore off like a greyhound, except a really slow greyhound, and didn't get anywhere near it. We were hopeless, Andrew. Look, but this was a good thing. This was a good corner.
I've got it. I should have had it as well.
Grown man, grown woman, crook, outrun by a small, lame lamb. Ridiculous. It was a sorry state of affairs, wasn't it?
I wouldn't make a goalkeeper, would I?
Well, I wouldn't make a lamb catcher either, as it turns out. So, did you? I mean, presumably you needed to catch that lamb. We weren't just chasing it around for fun.
No, that's right. I went back with a dog and a stick, and I did get the lamb.
That sounds quite brutal. You went back with it to help round it up.
That's right.
And what was wrong with it?
A little bit of joint ill, I think.
So just a little jab, and it was all right.
Yeah.
Good. So you shouldn't need to chase it again
I
tomorrow.
hope not. I'll get you to do it.
We'll be running around there all day. Well, earlier in the year, I spent quite a lot of time with a pair of tweezers and a bag of peat getting a ram named Blow Off ready for a show. Don't laugh, the cameraman's giggling already, and I don't know why. It's your fault. You named it Blow Off. Anyway, why is it called Blow Off?
I've no idea. Time's going on, we better get on, haven't we?
See, 5 days of telly, they think they know it all. Anyway, later on in the year, I then spent a happy day with a cow, some shampoo and a hairdryer. Have a look at this.
Over the past few months, I've seen just how important showing animals is to the Marstons. Today, they've selected one young Limousin heifer for special treatment. She's the one they hope will be best in show at the upcoming Kirby Classic sale. And they want me to get her ready.
So if you want to put a little bit of fairy on, just along its back.
Just
a
bit.
little bit.
Okay.
First, Rachel is going to show me how to work the Marstons' very own cow wash.
So we need to condition its coat and make sure it's nice and shiny, ready for the show. So we just get a really good lather on, and then we get right inside its coat, right down to its skin.
What's special about her? What makes you want to take her to a show?
It's quite long.
Yeah.
Got quite a good back end in her, as we say. She's quite wide.
Yeah.
They also like them quite square. These are called the pins.
Right.
They like it quite square. She could maybe be, to falter, it could have been a bit square here.
Right.
But when you brush her up, maybe hide that a little bit.
Selling a prize cow is what can bring home the biggest single payment for the Marstons. They're often bought by enthusiasts who want to show the cow themselves. But this is more than just a hobby for Rachel.
You know, if you get first prize, it's like it's winning the pools. You know, it's brilliant. It's a really good feeling, and it's like a lot of people respect you for it, and you get a reputation, and that's what we're trying to get, a reputation for good stock.
Well, we'll do our best to make her look beautiful.
Yeah.
You're gonna look gorgeous.
So this is probably one of my favourite jobs on the farm.
Yeah, I can totally understand it. It's so satisfying.
That's it. I know. It's like getting your tangles out of your hair. I know, you are very, very good.
So it needs a name, Kate, does this?
Oh, she hasn't got a name?
She hasn't got a name.
Oh, Lord.
You know what Andrew's like with his names.
If Andrew has a way, she'd probably just be called, Molehill or something like that. So we need something a bit more fancy. Shakira.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Would that be cool? Shakira?
Yeah, you might like Andrew probably won't know if she is.
No, all right. Maybe we ought to call her Beyonce.
Well, I thought about that. There's been some called that already.
Have there?
Yeah.
There you go, good girl. Good girl. Look how pretty you look. Look how pretty you look. Hey. Woo. There we go. I know. Everyone hates being washed behind the ears. There we go. There we go. There we go. Looks beautiful, smells beautiful. Yeah. Never has a cow smelled so floral. Gorgeous. Yes. Gorgeous. Right then. All rinsed.
Is it blow dry?
You don't.
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep, there you are. The biggest hair dryer. If I want to get changed really quickly, yeah.
That's what you do.
That's what you need.
you are very, very good.
Once freshly washed, styled and blow-dried, it's time to try and calm her down. This young heifer has never been shown before, and she has a lot to learn. This is the first time this 9-month-old cow has been led around the yard.
Try and just look up here a little bit.
But Andrew knows just what needs to be done.
Relax.
She must be taught to walk calmly around a parade ring with crowds looking on. But there are things you can do to help a cow settle.
So you're just sort of tickling her under her belly.
That's right, yeah. Just hopefully relaxes her.
No one's quite sure why rubbing the underbelly helps calm a cow down. It seems to work thanks to a sensitive area that cows enjoy being tickled on whilst mutual grooming. It appears to lower heart rate, reduce stress and increase happiness. The show stick is also used to try and get the cow to stand perfectly straight.
I'll just try and push her leg back a little bit. Just turn that leg back, that's it. It's important how they stand, they show cattle, so you try.
So they want them to sort of stand square, do they?
Yeah, that's right. It'll make the back level.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for, a good level.
A good
top.
level back.
Yeah.
Finally, I want to know if Andrew has come to a decision on the name.
We gather you don't like Shakira.
Not too keen the name Shakira.
Yes, I wasn't asking you to make personal comments.
That's right. No, not on national television.
If not Shakira, any of the other suggestions? We thought Venus might be nice. Not keen on Venus.
No, what else have you got up your sleeve?
Juno, I thought.
Yeah, maybe that one. Yeah. That,
Juno.
Juno who won? Do you know who got who?
Juno seems to have a great temperament and is learning fast, but we'll have to hope she reacts well in the judging ring on her debut at the forthcoming Kirby Classic,
Hope so, don't we, lassie?
where my cow prepping skills will really be put to the test.
That was a really fun day.
It was good fun, wasn't it?
It really was. And we'll be showing you how well Juno did at the Kirby Classic a little bit later on in the programme. Now, this name issue.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've got blow-off, as we know.
We have.
Anything else that...
He's had a few in his time.
Yeah.
He's had a Yabba Dabba Doo for a tub. Don't ask me why.
What do you do with it? I mean, you know, can you not just do normal
No,
names?
I think he wants a name that people will remember and people will talk about. So
Right.
that's what's in his thinking.
Well, blow-off has certainly
Definitely
worked.
has, hasn't it?
Yeah, I
It's
think
got
it's
everybody
captured
talking. Yeah, I think so.
the nation's
And they
imagination.
blamed it on the kids, but it wasn't the kids at all.
All the secrets are coming out tonight. Now, as ever, we are in the orphanage being attacked. I think you don't need to wean these orphans at all. They just want to eat jeans.
They do, yeah. Jeans and a pair of wellies.
Yeah, they'll be
fine,
absolutely
yeah.
fine. Or cameramen, indeed.
Yeah.
But last night, if you were watching last night, we actually split up the big ones from the little ones. The little ones are now behaving beautifully, Rachel. Has it actually worked? I mean, because it was a serious issue, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they were being a bit
they've,
bullied.
They've all been fed today on the machine and it's been brilliant. Yeah.
So that's why they're looking all so
full and
sleepy and
sleepy.
content.
Yeah, really.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
they are.
lovely.
I'm pleased. Yeah.
Now, questions for
Okay,
you. This
yeah.
is Rachel's question corner. The first one, I have a sneaking suspicion you might know these people. They're called Stee and Mouse Ousby. Yeah, Bent's Farm. Yeah.
Bill and Jackie and their two sons, yeah.
Well, they want to know, they should know, but so they're
should
clearly
know.
winding
Yeah,
you
I
up
think
here
they
a
just-
bit.
yeah.
They said, why do
I'll get
you
you back
pronounce
later.
you? I think this is for Andrew, perhaps, because he says you, doesn't he? And you say yow.
Well, Andrew would normally say yow,
Yeah.
but he's putting his radio voice. I
Is
mean,
he?
he's putting his telephone voice on the telly.
Is that what he is?
That's exactly
So he's
what
just
it
sort of being
He's
posh
just
on
being
the telly.
posh. And
Is that
yeah,
right?
he is, and
Right.
it's backfired, hasn't it?
You've been caught out,
Yeah,
Andrew. Now, Terry Gawley has asked a question which also my brother-in-law, nepotism, wonderful thing, has also asked.
Yeah.
And it's about a particular way of counting in Cumbria.
Yeah.
And they think that... Excuse me, get back in, please. Thank you. They think that it goes something like Yan...
That's right, yeah. So we've got Jan, Tan, Tethera, Leathera, Pimp, Sethera, Methera, Hovera, Dovera, Dick. and then it goes Yanadick, Tanadick, Tetherick, Setherick, Methodick, Pimpadick, something like that. I'm not quite sure, but yeah.
That's amazing. And is it very, very local to this area?
Yeah, it's Cumbrian dialect, is that? So I've been told.
Fantastic. Yeah. Now, I feel like I've utterly failed everybody here now because... but can you just not climb out of the window? I feel I've failed everybody here because... lots of you have written in saying that you don't know what gimmer, shearling or tup means. I thought we'd done quite a good job of explaining it.
You can explain that because you've been working here for 6 months, so come on.
Lord, OK. Well, a gimmer is a female lamb.
That's right, yep.
A shearling is a lamb that has basically, it's just over a year old and it's been shorn for the first time.
That's correct, yeah.
And a tup is a name for a ram, so it's a male lamb or sheep. Is that right?
Done. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Full marks?
Yeah, not bad.
OK. I think we've got time just for... Oh, I love this question. I think we've got time for just one more. Rhian Wynne Jones in Bulfwells, near me.
Yeah.
She wants to know whether orphan lambs, ewe lambs obviously, can go on to make good mums because obviously they've never been taught by a mum.
Yeah, it's just a natural instinct. So these will go out with the other sheep when they're weaned and they'll just, it's just a natural instinct.
So have you had any sheep maybe lambing this year that would have been orphan lambs last year?
Yeah, last year, the year before, there would have been lambs. But yes, we have 1 or 2. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Now, Rachel, apart from throwing unspeakable stuff at Andrew in the night, did have some quite serious work because this happened. It was a little lamb that was born... some point in the night?
Some point in the night, yeah. And obviously its mother had licked it when it was born.
Yeah.
And taken a good liking to it.
But then she sort of did a bit of licking and then thought, I'd rather have...
I think she's just given birth and she needs a bit of energy, I would say. So she's like, gone to the licks.
So this poor little thing has just been left by its greedy mother and is going around trying to find someone else to look after him.
Yeah, it is a bit mean, isn't it, really?
It is really mean. I mean, ewes are quite brutal. They will only look after their own lambs, won't they?
That's why you put them in pens fairly soon after the barn, really.
Right. Look, where's my mum?
Well, it's looking down the pens.
Looking down the pens, yeah. So you came in to rescue it and that's exactly what you did, was it?
Yeah, popped it in a pen. Put that in a pen and look for the mother, really.
So there we are.
She is, put her in.
Perfect.
Yeah. And she did like it, really. She just wandered off, really. She just wanted a break.
Yeah.
Do
you feel like that sometimes?
Definitely. Yeah.
Right, we are going to shut this window before any lambs jump out. I think they've been attracted by all this lovely weather that we've been having. And like some lambs earlier today, they're probably desperate to get out in the field. But before that can happen, there are a few jobs that need doing. These new lambs are itching to get out, but before they can explore the fields, a few things need to be done. First, tail docking.
The mule gimmers are lowland sheep, and you'll dock the tails to stop them getting dirty when they're going to fresh grass. This is scratching for off, this disease that affects the lamb's mouths. It's a horrible thing if you've ever seen it. It scabs up all the faces. They can hardly open the mouth sometimes. There's all blood. It's horrible, and this is a marvellous vaccine.
Next, they need to be identified as Marston sheep.
And so this is ready for marking. And this is our mark.
Then an ear tag, each with a unique number. They'll wear these for the rest of their lives. Donald and Christine work their way through the flock with a little help from me. We load them with the ewes onto a trailer, ready for their next big adventure.
Well, Christine, I mean, it seems like it's quite an important job, and you always seem to be there when the tagging's going on.
Yes, Donald and I have done this for many, many years, and it's just our job.
But you've got a part-time job as well.
Yes, I'm a teaching assistant in the local secondary school, so yeah, it's good.
So the tagging has to wait for you?
The tagging has to wait for me.
Now, we've got some questions here. Now, little Anne and Ross Milligan in Porthcawl, South Wales, just wanted to ask the question, when do the lambs get their tags and how are the tag numbers generated? Now, let's talk them through it, because you do all the tagging and it's as soon as you can get to them, really, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So what happens?
Well, every lamb has to have an electronic tag, and the breeding sheep have to have 2. And so that's what happens.
OK, so this is the electronic tag here. I don't know whether you can see in there. In there is a little microchip, and it's now law in the UK. If you keep a sheep for over a year, it's got to have an electronic tag. So that goes into the taggers like that, and we've just seen them tagging them. And then also you have another tag to go in the other ear on your breeding sheep.
Yes.
So there's your flock name and your flock number. And that's for your Swaledales?
Yes, it is.
And the important thing about the Swaledales is that you have to trace them, I suppose?
Yes, it is, yes. We've done this ever since we came here, and so it's most important that we can trace them back.
And you end up writing all in the book?
We do have this book here, and we just write the numbers in this book here, and then we transfer them into another book.
Let's have a look at that. So you've got all the tag numbers here. So you've got the date, the mother, the tag numbers and whether they're boys or whether they're girls. And then I suppose the next thing is transferring it into your lambing books.
It is. And
then eventually it ends up in the flock book.
Yes, if we sell any rams at the Kirby Stephen ram sales, they've got to be in here, or they will be in here.
So here we are. This is the Swaledale Breeders Association flock books. And here you are. Here's the Marston family. And how many of these flock books are there?
They've been published since 1920 to the present day.
Goodness me.
Yes.
So there's a lot of them.
There's a lot.
Have you got them all?
We've got all except 5, and I would like, while I'm still living, to get a complete set for Andrew.
Well, there we go. If anybody's got the first 5, is the first 5 you need?
Yes.
They're quite valuable, though, aren't they?
Yes, they can range from probably £1,000 to £2,000, and yes.
Goodness me.
Yes.
If anybody's got the first 5, you can just send them in free of charge to the Marston family.
That would be lovely.
Now then, there are over 60 different breeds of sheep in the UK, and some of my favourites are the rare breeds. And a little while ago, I got a great chance to go and see some real island survivors. Off the coast of mainland Britain, out in the Irish Sea, lies the Isle of Man. It's home to a unique breed of primitive sheep, descended from the prehistoric short-tailed species of Northern Europe. Until the 18th century, they would have been seen roaming the Manx Hills in their thousands. They came in all sorts of different colours. There were whites, browns, blacks and greys. But over the last couple of centuries, the breed has had a pretty tough time of it and nearly became extinct many times. And now there's only one colour that remains, the brown ones, the Manx Locktons. These sheep are hardy and wild, very different from their domesticated cousins. Both rams and ewes boast 2, 4 or sometimes even 6 horns. Peter Kelly, a farm manager for Manx National Heritage, looks after 3 of the remaining flocks. What have you got in here then, Peter?
That's about 71 Lockton tups this year's crop.
Well, they're well grown, aren't they?
They've done well this year.
The sheep have kept their untamed instincts and are notoriously difficult to catch. But I want to have a proper look at one. Well, then let's see if we can get a bit closer. Go! There we go. Marvellous, we caught one.
You did very well. I was very, very surprised we actually got one.
These are a really lovely classic Manx Locktons with these 4 horns. Just amazing. And this lamb is only 8-10 months old. So these horns will grow twice the size when he's a ram. And this wool here has been bleached by the sun on the surface. But underneath is where you get this rich, mousy brown colour. Look at that, and it's beautifully fine. Now, Peter, they have a tail that's its natural length. You don't dock it, do you?
Don't dock it at all, no. No.
And do you get trouble with flies?
No trouble with flies in them at all.
Yeah, he's lovely. Off you go then, fella. The Manx got its name, it was sort of Gaelic origin, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lockton. Mouse brown, colour of the wool. The brown colour was prized by the Manx people as part of the garments. It's a hard-wearing wool, very fine, and easily hand-spun.
Back in the 1800s, this prized wool wasn't enough to keep the Lockton in demand.
Commercial breeds started appearing, the wool being dark colour, not commercially viable for the spinning. Just got phased out, pushed out to the backwaters, the cliff edges, out the way. People didn't really want them anymore.
By the end of the 19th century, the Lockton breed had all but been replaced. They would have disappeared forever had it not been for a few considerate farmers. Caesar Bacon was one of them. He gathered together most of the remaining Locktons on the island to ensure their survival. But keeping the breed going with just one flock proved very difficult.
They got down to about 12 when the National Trust got together and started preserving them. And all the descendants you see now are from that 12.
So they really were nearly extinct?
Oh yeah, they were nearly extinct, nearly gone.
Throughout the 1900s, the Manx Lockton continued to teeter on the edge of extinction. By the 1970s, they were down to just a few hundred animals. But then, in 1973, conservation work by the Rare Breed Survival Trust and enthusiastic breeders helped numbers to increase. One of these was Lancastrian Barbara Platt, who as a child fell in love with the breed whilst on summer holidays on the Isle of Man and decided to start her own flock. Today, back on the island, her daughter-in-law Cilla keeps that very same flock going. So how did you first get involved with it all then?
Well, really, it was through my mother-in-law, because she set the flock up to start with, scratching a few sheep from here and there, and she kept them in Lancashire. And then 22 years ago, we brought them back to the island, a bit like Noah's Ark in a big curtain-sided lorry.
Bringing them home?
Yes.
Tests are going on across the island to find out how many of the remaining Manx Locktons are true purebreds. Cilla's sheep make up one of the only confirmed pedigree flocks. Their survival means a once fragile genetic pool has been saved. And how do you feel now, having taken on the responsibility from your mother-in-law?
I never thought that I would be keeping sheep at this time in my life, but I'm really grateful to my mother-in-law for helping, being one of the people who's helped to retain them.
But it's not just the genetic heritage of these little sheep that's been preserved. The Manx Lockton is at the centre of a commercial revolution. George Stereopoulos and his wife have led the crusade. How many Manx have you got then, George?
Well, we're around about 500 breeding ewes
and
followers. Yep. We had a few more, but there's quite a lot of demand coming from breeders in the UK at the moment. Steady on now, Ben, steady on.
In 2008, Manx Lockton lamb was awarded a PDO, or Protected Designated Origin, which means it now joins the likes of champagne, Parma ham and Gorgonzola as one of the finest regional food products in Europe. If the lamb isn't from the Isle of Man, it can't be called Manx Lockton.
Yeah.
I'm helping George separate these 9-month-old lambs from their mothers. They'll be reunited after the ewes have mated with the rams. Right, let's get some of these lambs shifted.
Yeah.
They're lovely, aren't they? So you've got a mixture of 2- and 4-horned ones through that. How do you find the commerciality of it now? Are you making money out of meat?
Well, we're slowly building up quite a following now for our product. It's the flavour that really is something special. We don't try and force feed them in any way. We feed them on natural herbage. That's the most important thing.
Behind you, ready?
And at the end of it all, we have a different product altogether from what you'd taste in commercial lamb. It's a bit akin to a cross between beef and reindeer, perhaps.
Quite gamey, isn't it?
Yeah, very gamey, and it's very low. Because it's primitive, it's very low in fat. It's only got something like 5%, whereas normal commercial sheep, you've got 28-29%.
Right.
It really has sparked an interest, and we're seeing a lot of demand, especially from the UK now, for breeding stock, and it's only now that we're really demonstrating what people can do with old traditional breeds, and I think they're going to make a big comeback.
What's the plan now then, George?
We'll let these ewes out into the field here, and I'll be coming along later with a trailer. We'll pick the lambs up and put them to another field.
Okay.
Go on, girls.
It's been great for me to come over to the Isle of Man and see these little survivors in their native homeland. Their new lease of life proves that for those ancient breeds still struggling, there is space for them in the 21st century.
So, do you reckon you'd get yourself a few Max Lockton then, Donald?
Yeah, add to the variety of this place. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we could do with a few various breeds
of those
here.
big four-horn tops.
Yeah. And also, you'd have something to get hold of when you catch them.
They're great, aren't they?
Are they? Yeah.
Now, we've had lots of questions for you. Aaron from Leeds wants to know what's the average lifespan of a sheep. Now, that's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one. They can live till about the 10-year-old, probably, but I wouldn't say that's average. Average maybe 8.
Yeah.
I would have thought, probably. There's lots of things can kill a sheep before it's 8-year-old.
Now, one of the crucial things I know is teeth. Let's grab this sheep and have a look at teeth.
Yes. Now then.
If you can grab it, they're strong, these Beltecs.
Well,
now, sheep have only got teeth on their bottom jaw at the front, haven't they?
Yep.
So there you go. I don't know whether you can see its teeth. And sheep have got baby teeth. And then after the first year, they go 2. And then the second year, they've got 4. And then they have 6. And then they have 8. So this sheep is 3 years old. She'll be a full mouth ewe next year. And it's really a case of when their teeth fall out, they can no longer graze and they get old and die, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will cull their ewes when they have no teeth left, or when they're what we call broken mouth. That's what that's the term, broken mouthed. And lowland people might use broken mouthed ewes. On the hill, you can't really.
Now, I want to know, being a lowland sheep farmer, do the Swaledales last as long up on the hill?
Well, people that just have Swaledales, they'll take 3 crops off them. And then after the 3rd crop, they will take them to the auction and sell them as what they call draft ewes. And then the lowland man comes and he'll buy these draft ewes and he'll put the lesset up on them. And he'll hope to get 3 crops out of them. So, and that's what we don't sell drafts now, really, so we'll cross our own, apart from 1 or 2 of our favourite ewes that have bred good sheep for us, and we'll keep putting them to the pure tup.
Now, this hefting, also being a lowland farmer, not really knowing that much about hefting, it intrigues me that you and Andrew are very particular about buying in some classy Swaledales to help improve and get some tups from.
Yeah.
How do you heft that ewe to the flock with the rest of them? Or when you get her up the mountain, does she just run off?
She doesn't go to the mountain. She'll stay inside. But if she has female lambs, what we call gimmer lambs, and they'll winter with our gimmer lambs, the chances are they'll go to the moor or the fell the year and the next year. But that ewe itself, because if we took her to the fell, she'd be lost. It wouldn't be fair on her, and she wouldn't know where to go.
Now, foot and mouth 2001 was a very difficult year for farming throughout the country, but particularly for the hefted sheep, because a lot of them were lost off the fells, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. We managed to keep a few of our pupils. We lost a big percentage of the sheep, and really, since 2001, our sheep have never been quite the same at the fell. They seem to have moved the heft, and we keep trying to move them back, but it's never been the same, and people don't realise that. And some hefted flocks would disappear altogether, and once they've gone, you can't put other sheep back where there's no fences. So it was serious.
Well, those are the dark days of foot and mouth. Let's move on to something a little bit lighter. Now then, earlier in the programme we saw Kate. She was blow drying those cattle, getting them all ready for the shows. Let's see how she got on.
It's 7 in the morning and the day of the Kirby Classic. Down in the farmyard, the Marstons are loading up some of their prize cattle. Andrew has selected 2 cows and 2 bullocks to show today. I gave the name Juno to the 9-month-old black Limousin heifer I washed and groomed. But it seems Andrew has some other rather strange names of his own.
This one's Tiny Temper.
Tiny Temper, right.
This one's Daisy Duke. And the red one's General Lee.
Now, I didn't have Andrew down as a Dukes of Hazzard fan. The cattle will compete in various categories before the all-important auction. My job is to ensure these beasts are primped and preened.
It's all about the bum, basically. So I've got to make Juno's bum look as big and bounteous as possible.
I'm using all my brushing skills to beef her up.
No, Andrew's got quite high hopes for Juno today.
It has, but I've had a look around and not quite sure whether it'll win today.
Oh, really?
It's quite a good competition. Stiff competition, so yeah.
So, the battle is on. But what is the all-important judge looking for?
What is it that catches your eye? Because there's some very good-looking cattle here
It's the character
today.
of the animal.
Right.
Really, if it comes in and it's looking around, I'm here, you know, that sort of business.
Yeah.
Or one that goes...
Yeah, so it's all about if it looks sort of proud,
Yes.
if it looks kind of...
It's good on its legs.
Yeah.
And good on its, what do we call its plates, which is on its tail area, the square.
Yeah.
And the roundness in the second thigh.
Right, I'm going to go and have a quiet word with Juno, my heifer then, and say, look perky and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then you're in with a chance.
Come in the ring and say, look, I'm here.
Yeah.
But Juno will have to wait to strut her stuff. First to show are the Limousin bullocks, Tiny Temper and General Lee, shown round by Andrew and his father-in-law, Harry. Tiny Temper wins first prize in his class.
He's won! Andrew's won! That's brilliant!
And General Lee gets second. It's a lot for Juno to live up to, and the stress appears to be getting the better of her.
Everything is obviously nervous and has started to do poo everywhere. And every time they do that, you've got to wipe it away.
Disaster averted, Juno takes to the ring for the class for Limousin heifers.
Just looking at the judge, he is looking very closely between this red heifer and Juno. He got first! He got first! Andrew got first again! So 2 firsts and a second.
Yeah, we're pleased with that, I think.
That's
very pleased.
I feel so proud.
Andrew now has 2 in the grand final to decide the best in show. Juno is up against Tiny Temper and 3 other category winners. Rachel watches on nervously.
She's shaking. She's physically shaking.
Right, to our whole world champion today is number 11 for Mrs. Marsden of Easthill Head, Juno.
Young Juno is crowned Supreme Champion.
Oh, Rachel, that's what a good day.
Yeah, really
what a good day.
But the excitement is far from over yet. The rosette, sash and trophy will hopefully catch the eye of buyers watching on. Ultimately, all this show is just building up to the auction sales.
I mean, now that she is Supreme Champion, does that put her price up?
No, the people will bid for whatever they see in the ring and give whatever price they think suitable.
It may seem strange that Andrew is going to sell his Supreme Champion rather than keeping her for breeding, but the hope is that Juno will go out on the show circuit and act as a shop window for his farm. The fear in the auction is that the recession has curbed the market for showing and that Juno will end up being bought for beef. So it's important she sells for more than her meat trade value of around £600.
Our champion today then, £800 rate, £850, £859, £900, £950.
To my relief, the price quickly moves up.
£950, £1,000, £1,000, £1,100, £1,100, £1,112, £1,200.
And keeps on going.
At £1,700 rate, my bid's in the gods and I am standing last chance. At £1,700, all nice the way. At £1,700, £1,700. In the gods and
1,700 guineas is a really good price for such a young cow, and it means she hasn't been bought for beef. She's been snapped up for showing, and Juno should have a long career on the cattle walk ahead of her. Tiny Temper, General Lee and Daisy Duke also sold, bringing home a total of nearly £5,000 for the Marstons.
2 firsts, a second, and a Supreme Champion. Even you must be smiling today.
Got a little smile on my face, I must admit, but yeah, I've had a successful day today.
But the glory went to Juno, and her beautifully styled hair, of course. I'm very proud.
So you see, that's what happens when you give something a sensible name. It gets a Supreme Champion. Call it Blow Off. And you're asking for it, really.
Yeah, that's right, Kate. You can name me Tups next year.
I think I will, because actually we went out to try and name some Tups the other day, and they were the prize ones that Andrew showed you yesterday. And I said, what about, Romulus and Remus or something like that? And Andrew just, go on, give me the look. Yeah, like that. And I said, Dastardly and Muttley? He went, yeah, that's much more my style. Anyway, that was a very good day at the Kirby Classic, wasn't it? It was a brilliant day. Yeah. And I mean, Rachel said earlier, when you do win, it is like winning the pools.
Well, nearly. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, you put a lot of work in, a lot of effort, and it is nice to get some reward.
But why do you do it? Because, you couldn't guarantee that she was going to get a good price. I mean, you got a good price for Juno that day, but sometimes, and we've both seen it at sales, where the champion actually goes for less than, something that hasn't won a prize at all. So is all that work really worth it?
Well, for me, I think it's breeding something better than I've bred before, and that's the challenge throughout all the livestock we produce. It is actually trying to do better all the time, so it isn't just how much it makes in the sale ring, it's doing your best.
And thinking of that, we have of course seen some calves born while we've been here, and a couple of people asked, lots of people were absolutely fascinated by the caesarean that we showed in yesterday's programme.
Yeah.
But a lot of people wanted to ask, that cow, or indeed any cow that has a caesarean, could they have another calf?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Right, so it doesn't mean
10 more calves.
Really?
Yeah.
And could they give birth naturally the next time?
Yes, a lot of them do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so it's just, if the circumstances warrant it, it's a really good way of making sure cow and calf survive. But as you say, they could just as easily have a natural birth the next time round.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, a calf was born just before we got here, frustratingly, a very handsome little fellow, and Andrew took me to see him today and explained why he thinks he could potentially be another Juno, perhaps a Supreme Champion. So what is it that you look for in a potential show calf?
I like this calf's head. It's a little boxy head, nice pricked ears. In a potential show calf, I look for a really wide back, and a calf that's good on its legs, very straight like that one, not bent, crooked, they don't turn out, bright eyes and good ears really, So a calf that looks cocky, proud of itself, shows itself, that's what you're looking for.
It needs a bit of attitude.
It does, a lot of attitude, yeah.
Have you got attitude? You look far too sweet and a little bit dopey.
I think it has a little sparkle in its eye though, okay? I think it's saying, look at me, I'll stick my tongue out at you.
He is gorgeous. So, what sort of age will he be if before you decide to show him?
Probably about 8 months old.
Okay.
6 to 8 months.
Well, give me a call and I'll come along with my hairdryer and my back comb, make him look ready.
Get a good name for it.
Yes, exactly. That's what you need to work on in the meantime. Now, farming is something that's often misrepresented and misunderstood by those of us who aren't farmers. But I've had the huge privilege of having first-hand experience of life on this farm over the last few months. And this film really sums it up far more eloquently than I ever could.
Cumbria has been home to sheep and shepherds for hundreds of years. Together, they've shaped and maintained this beautiful landscape. Our Swaledale flock are hefted to the fell, which means they know that this is where they belong. It's knowledge that's passed on through the generations, from ewe to lamb. And shepherding them and farming this land is what we love to do.
We are providing food for the nation, for the world, and so yeah, it's a proud thing. It's what keeps me going. You just want to breed something good.
Farming can sometimes be a tough and lonely life, and not one that'll make you a barnload of cash.
You're never going to make a fortune on a family farm, but it's enjoyable. Health and happiness are the most important things in life, aren't they? You know, that's something that money cannot buy.
This is more than just a job. It's a way of life, working closely with the weather and the seasons.
A fine day like today, it's grand. It is. It's nice to see the lambs because you've looked after them all winter, and now when you see lambs skipping about, you think, yeah, it's worth it. It's what you call job satisfaction, and it's yeah, you get a lot of that. Well, that's what keeps you farming. Yeah, they're just the sheer pleasure of work. That's what keeps you going.
Put a smiley face on because it's a nice sunny day. Does it need a nose? This is our home. This is where we belong. Cumbria is in our blood and in our bones. I hope my daughters also enjoy this way of life, but whether they go into farming is up to them. What would you like to do?
Farmer.
I wasn't asking you. What would you like to do?
A farmer probably, but yeah, definitely have to have horses.
What would you like to be, Abigail?
Farmer.
A farmer. And what would you farm?
Pigs. Cows, sheep and horses.
And what about Olivia?
She would probably like to farm as well.
By gum. 3 farmers.
By gum.
By gum. And where would you like to live at then?
Here.
Here? Where would you live?
Here.
As I watch my girls playing, chasing the descendants of the same sheep Andrew used to chase, I just hope that this little flock of mine is also a little bit hefted to this place too.
I should think you probably are hefted to this farm, aren't you? I don't think you two are going anywhere, are you?
No.
Now then, we introduced our viewers right at the beginning of the show to 2 lambs that you two brought into the world this morning, didn't you?
Yeah.
Should we have a look at the film? Yeah. OK, have a look at this. Stop eating my car.
You can't feel another leg. Oh God, don't I pull it?
Go on, Ab.
Yeah.
Go on. Go on.
And that one. And that one. Here you go.
Go on, Abs. Good girl.
Pull it down, pull it down. Well done, Abs, you're doing.
Okay.
That's it.
There we are.
Woo.
Well done.
Wow, that's a good lamb.
Well done, Abigail. Excellent.
It's all slippy, isn't it? Well done.
There we go, we got this. Its navel's already done.
Now, you may be very good at delivering lambs, but you're not very good at controlling them when you get older, are you? Now, we've got lots of questions for you that have been sent in by people. Georgie Redhead wants to know, do you like mucking out sheep?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Well, where were you when there was all the mucking out to do this week? You disappeared sharpish. Maybe you were at school. Maybe we'll let you off. Charlotte Rigby and Lydia want to know, have you ever raised a pet lamb of your own?
Yeah.
Have you? What did you call it? Did it have a special name?
I can't remember.
You can't remember? You're worse than your dad, aren't you? What about you, Abigail? Have you ever had a pet lamb of your own? I think the one eating your coat would actually quite like to be yours.
Yeah.
Do you like that one?
No,
it's all right. This one is going to eat. Look, it's going to eat my cards. Now, oh, I know. You've made a film for us today, haven't you?
Yeah.
What is it? Can you remember?
No.
Yes, you can. You can remember, can't you, Catherine, what the film was all about?
Actually, yeah, I can.
It's our highlights film.
Yeah.
Go on, you introduce it.
Look at the camera.
What do I say?
You say it's Catherine and Abigail's highlights.
It's Catherine and Abigail's highlights.
And cue the girls.
Hello and welcome to BBC Lambing Live. I'm Catherine. And I'm Abigail. And welcome to our farm.
And cut.
Last week the BBC turned up with all their trucks. And they put cameras everywhere. We couldn't believe Lambing Live was coming from our farm.
So what's this one called?
Blow off.
Blow off?
Yes.
Well, I hate to steal Blow Off's thunder, but here is our very first Lambing Live lamb. Ooh. And Tanisha Willoughby, she suggested that we call the lamb Rosie because it's got slightly rosy cheeks. What do you think?
I think I've got slightly rosy cheeks.
It was so funny seeing our family on television, especially Gran and Grandad.
Now that's a bit of a fancy one, isn't it?
It has a very sheltered life. It lives under the stairs.
Then it was our turn. We felt like stars. But then it started raining really hard.
It is blowing a hoolie out there.
And we all got wet, including our new lambs.
We need a sun dance. We need some good weather so that on 8 o'clock tomorrow night it's going to be perfect. We'll see you then. Do sun dances for us. Bye.
And all that dancing worked. The sunshine cheered everyone up.
As soon as the sunshine came out, the lambs went mad and caused mayhem.
You naughty little lamb.
We're being taken over by lambs. I'm totally upstaged.
It's hard work at lambing time, but we've had lots of help this week, not just from Kate and Adam, but from all the crew.
But on a lovely sunny day like today, Rosie could go out into the big wide world.
And one of our lambs was even named by Radio 1.
But there you are.
Floppy's now our favourite lamb, and we went to find her with our Auntie Angela. And it's got an F on it, so I'll never forget it.
So cute.
They're just eating everything.
They're eating everything.
We've had so much fun with Lambing Live. It's been the most exciting thing we've ever done. We like making telly. Stand by camera 2, stand by Kate, and mix and cue.
Oh, that's me! We've had so many highlights. We could show you a whole other week's worth of stuff, couldn't we?
We really could. It's been absolutely fantastic. Now, Donald, any regrets having us all here?
It's been brilliant.
Well,
we've loved every minute. It's been a great privilege.
So have we. Thank you all so very much. We've got a highlights programme on tomorrow night at 6:30 in case you're having withdrawal symptoms. And we hope to see you all again very soon for Lambing Live. Good night and
Bye-bye.
thank you all very, very much.